Well, I think I've got one more thing I want to do before I dig the Jeep out and push it into the shop, which is to dig some of this stuff out and push this into the shop. This was the dolly I made for holding the Jeep tub when I did the initial patch panels and floor pans. I think it's going to get repurposed though. I'll go ahead and give my usual shout out to Anchor Lube. Not only do they make a great cutting lubricant, but they're also a big supporter of the channel and help make it possible for me to make this content. That'll get saved for something. It's a pretty good start on a rotisserie. I still need the part that mounts the Jeep on here, but I can't really figure that out until I get it kind of mocked up. And I'll probably add some bracing to stiffen it up. The less bracing I have on here, the less I'll have to work around, so I'll figure it out as I go. The tires were pretty well frozen to the ground, so I had to use the jack to break them free. Before I put the new wheel wells in, I want to do as much weld finishing as I can, because I won't be able to get to a lot of the welds on my patch panels after I put them in. With the passenger side wheel well out, I can finally get to the last body mount. And with that in, it's really hard to get the wheel well in place. I've got both wheel wells kind of roughly spot welded in. I'm going to go back and do some more once I get it on the rotisserie. I also mocked up the middle section here with some clecos. There's a hat channel here with some body mounts on it. I need to be able to take this back out to finish spot welding the wheel wells in, but I want to make sure I know where all of this goes. The mount for the back end is made out of the standoffs for the engine stand and whatever other scrap metal I had handy. The spot welder was being kind of temperamental here, and I eventually gave up and switched over to plug welding, and then decided I don't like doing that either. So I spent some more time and got the spot welder working right again. Building this rotisserie was one of those things that I questioned whether it was going to be worthwhile, and immediately decided I made the right decision. Just makes it so much easier to get things into a good position to work on. And it turns out it doesn't need any more bracing or counterbalancing. I got a comment recently on the video where I made the extension bars for the spot welder that said, "Use your brain, you don't need long bars, amen." I guess I hadn't really considered that. Let's try it. Well, I guess telekinetic spot welding is faster than resistance spot welding. At least it moves the video along and keeps it from being too repetitive. Sure. Pull it out from the edge a little bit more, though. Well, since we can't get through a project without fixing a tool, the cord gland came a little loose, so I had to pull this thing apart. In the process, I discovered that these studs were stripped out. Little green Loctite, we should be back in business. I've got a little detective work to do before I can weld this toolbox in. You can see where I drilled the spot welds out when I removed this, and it doesn't line up with the holes in the toolbox. There's a pretty small piece of the original floor left, but since I based it off of where the transmission tunnel was, I think it's in the right place. There wasn't much of this riser piece left, so I'm thinking that I got it a little too far forward. I want to drop the passenger seat in and mock it up and see how it fits. The toolbox also isn't sitting very square. The outside of the seat seems like it's sitting okay. I will need to replace this bracket at some point, though. Looks like I'm sitting about half an inch forward of where I should be. I took half an inch off the flange and shifted it back, and I'm a lot happier with that fit. It's lining up pretty well with the old spot welds. Went ahead and remade this bracket, and pretty happy with how the passenger seat fits. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and put the mount in for the driver's seat, but I lost a lot of the audio here, so I think I'll take a page out of the Project Binky playbook and get the funk out. The center section was pretty warped from bead rolling. It's starting to flatten out, but I need to finish the back before I can get it done. decided since I was going through 3 or more layers here, I'd be better off plug welding than spot welding. And then the spot welder started giving me trouble again, so I just finished everything with plug welds. Now that I've got this back panel in place, I've been doing some work getting this fit, doing some shrinking, and it's getting pretty close. Before I finish it up, I want to punch these body mount holes up through. In order to do that, I think I probably should put it back on the frame. Well, now that that's screwed in again, I'm going to go ahead and take it back out. Honestly, it's not too bad. There's a little bit of work I want to do on the back, some more I want to do on the front, and from the I don't want to do it, but I need to do it department. I've got a little too much of a gap here. This hole is way too close to the edge. Well, a whole lot more heating and beating and trying to get holes in the right place. One of the problems is as this flattened out, the holes shifted around, so it's really tough to get them in the right place, but I'm happy enough with that for now. Next time I pull this out, I'll round off these corners, but I think that's going to work. That was a lot of effort, but my plan is to have a couple of my battery boxes under here, and I wanted to be able to have access to them. Hopefully that was wasted effort, and I'll never need to take this out. Well, I'm pretty happy to have this to this point. Next thing to do is going to be to strip all of this down and get some primer on it so it doesn't rust and make sure it doesn't rust out again. If you want to see that, stick around.